Hi, this is Bobbo from GuitarGeekWarning.com, and today we're hanging out with Courtney Chambers.
Nice.
Thank you. Yes, I've been practicing all day to get that.
I can tell.
I didn't practice at all for that. So, Courtney and I go way back to I don't know when.
I don't even know how we met.
Yeah.
How did we meet?
It's one of those things like we've always been friends and don't really remember when it started.
Yeah,
as soon as we met, we're like,
yes, you're my people.
We're friends. It's just the way it is. So, before I get too far into anything else, will you play the song? Just start right off with a song?
With a song? Yeah.
Yeah. What song are you playing?
I'm going to play Full in Me from Tales of the Aftermath.
Cool.
Take a moment and breathe it in. Take a moment, confess my sin. It's still beautiful. It's still beautiful. In all the beauty and all the pain, I can't say I regret a thing. Ooh, I can finally feel the peace washing over me. And I turn for this road I have burned, but for some things I can't escape. All the things in your life that you know that you want, but you hate. You could always run, but there's something in the way that your eyes deny. You could always run, but there's something in the way that your eyes oh, you can always run, but it'll haunt you till the day you die.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, I'm watching the chord changes you're playing in that, and it's like minor sevenths, and all through. You use interesting chords instead of like, you get the B flat to the C sharp in there, but then you also have a B at the end of that chorus that just kind of stands up, and that's just an interesting change.
Yeah, I actually it goes from a minor, which is in the verse, and then it goes actually to a dominant in the chorus, which I've always loved taking. Like, there's always been this sort of major to minor, which is kind of like a very common change you hear.
But major to minor on the same chord.
Yeah, and I love going from minor to major. This is something that just like opens up that whole movement.
Yeah. So with a song like that, how did you write that? Like, where did it come from?
Well, I was trying to get over somebody.
That happens.
And I actually was really going through a bit of writer's block, and I was really not liking anything that I was writing. And I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like everything that I'd already written. And so this one was very simple, but I was able, the words that I wanted to say were able to come through this chord progression. And I did get excited going from that minor, going to a dominant.
Yeah.
And then another thing I didn't even realize, it's actually in 7/4. So it's an odd time signature.
That's interesting. I didn't even notice it was in 7/4.
It doesn't, it's not awkward feeling, but when I first showed it to my drummer, he said, this song is in 7, well, the verse is in 7/4, the chorus is in 4. But, and
Are you prog rock?
I guess it's seeping into me, but which was it's funny because I'm not really pretentious. I don't go out of my way to do super, like I'm gonna really mess around with this time signature, even though I love that stuff. But it was just sort of this accidental kind of cool thing that came about from it.
It's interesting that you say it's 7/4 because there's a definite groove, and to say there's like a sensuality in that groove that you're playing, it's sexy.
Well, thank you.
And it being in 7/4 is not typically a sexy time signature.
Yeah,
that's an awkward time signature.
Yeah.
Like if you asked me to play 7/4, it'd be here a while.
But it feels like in the song, it feels totally natural.
It does.
It feels like the most natural thing in the world. Like, I would, until my drummer said, count it out.
Yeah.
Count out that phrase. And I was like, well, okay, I guess it is in 7/4.
7/4. Now, did the guitar part come first, or did the vocals?
I generally tend to write together. So, and it usually does start with, I'm looking for a chord progression and a rhythm. Mm-hmm. And the rhythm over the years has become so much more important to me as far as a songwriter.
Yeah.
Just because to me it distinguishes between all of the other songs I've written. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I always like to keep those things interesting, not just for the listener, but for myself, because I get very bored. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like with something like this, I was probably just started off with, very simple. And it's like, okay, but that's interesting enough for me to make me want to just start singing in tongues. And you just probably sounded something like, I can usually come up with a melody pretty quickly. It's the words that sort of have to evolve until whatever's inside finally comes out.
Now, was it always in this key?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You put the capo on there and you found it?
Yeah, I generally it's when I write with capos, I generally will just stick it somewhere and just see what happens. I honestly, I have to let go when I write and just let the muse do its thing. Mm-hmm. And I really have to take a very hands-off approach, just like the other song we were talking about earlier that we're going to do later. Just stick on it.
Let it flow.
Let it flow, and whatever comes out, comes out.
Now, did you write it on this guitar?
No, I actually wrote it on my Yamaha.
Yamaha. Now, that's a jumbo body.
Yeah.
Do you feel different while you're writing them on different kinds of guitars? Or is it the guitar just the tool?
Usually the guitar is just the tool. If it's an acoustic, the guitar is just the tool.
Okay.
If I have written things when I'm on my electric, and I'm fooling around with effects, that can totally help to drive where that song is going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, but as far as the acoustic, I mean, without effects or anything, it's just, you know.
Okay. Yes. Now, why did you pick up the guitar in the first place? What was the reason behind guitar?
Well, I had been playing piano since I was 10. I've been writing songs, you know, making up songs since I was 5 years old.
Okay.
And so when I picked up the piano, I was kind of like your typical 10-year-old who was like, I really want to play piano, but I had no desire to practice. I was like, can I just know how to play?
Yeah.
And but you know, I was decent, and I had written my first song when I was 8 on the piano. It was just an instrumental, and I continued to write through high school. But I always felt like I couldn't convey what I heard in my head on the piano. Like, it just wasn't translating.
Mm-hmm.
And which was kind of frustrating for me, because I mean, even though I'd been playing for so long, by the time I was 17, I just still was very limited. And so
moving them around is a pain too.
Is very much a pain. Guitar is definitely a lot easier. So I'd asked my dad for a guitar, and so for my graduation present, I got my first guitar, which is a Takamine concert guitar. So there's like tiny acoustic body, so unless it's plugged in, it just kind of sounds like a banjo. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Have you seen those, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Was it nylon string or?
No, it was a steel string.
Okay.
And but it was the first time that I was like, yes, like this is the language I want to speak. And later I did go back to piano, and I started writing again on the piano.
Mm-hmm.
But for the time being, for a very long period of time, it was just like, this is my instrument that I can speak through. And the first song I ever learned on the guitar was Joey by Concrete Blonde.
Wow, great song.
Yeah, and I have to say that I'm really grateful that I did pick up piano first, because picking up the guitar, as far as being able to have finger strength and just even understanding music in general, was a lot easier had I not spent 7 years just on the piano and having that experience.
Probably played something in 7/4 on the piano before that.
I don't know, maybe I did.
Yeah. Now, do you remember like the first song that you heard, as far as a songwriter, that you're like, oh, that's the kind of music that I need to speak like that?
Yeah, I would say Fumbling Towards Ecstasy, that whole album by Sarah McLachlan, was, you know, because at that time, you know, you had Jewel, you had Sarah McLachlan, and then maybe about a year later it was Alanis.
And then Paula Cole.
Who's fabulous. But when I heard Fumbling Towards Ecstasy, it actually incorporated so much more than just, and no shade on Jewel, but it was just very stripped down acoustic guitar, which is cool. But for what I wanted to accomplish, I was like, wasn't what I was hearing. And when, you know, and all these other great artists that were coming out, it was just, the sounds of the records weren't that interesting. The songs are good, but I didn't feel like it was doing anything like that was perking up my ears, you know. And then Fumbling Towards Ecstasy comes along, and it's like, you know, you have all these weird distorted guitars where it sounds like the connection's going out, and I'm like, what's that, you know? And just those sounds that were on that record for me got me excited. And when I heard that, I was like, I can do this, you know. And so thank you, Sarah McLachlan and Pierre Marchand, for creating such a beautiful record that inspired me. The songwriting is excellent. The production is excellent. It's just a solid record altogether. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to Tracy.
Cheers.
Cheers. We're drinking out of the champagne flutes. You know why?
Why is that?
Because we're not savages.
We don't have a red solo cup.
No red solo cups on this show. So, you told me how you cut your teeth a lot playing Dog and Butterfly and had to really...
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's hear a little bit of that Barracuda. Nice. Okay. Let's hear it on different, almost the same guitar. sound completely different.
Yeah, it's definitely it's warmer. It's at least from like my end, it sounds warmer. And of course, you have the thicker strings.
I do have bigger strings. These are. Do want to point out, Courtney's not playing extra lights.
No, I'm not playing extra lights.
I've given her so much shit about this earlier. She just bought the wrong strings.
Yes.
Yes. So, yeah. And we already had our ovation conversation before too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, you also told me that the Crazy on You.
Yeah.
Will you play a little bit of that?
Okay. Well,
I just love it. It's just one of the things I remember. I had your Yamaha was getting fixed at one point in time.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And I remember looking at the frets and seeing that there was fret wear on like all of the frets. And for a lot of singer-songwriters, it's like these 3 frets here are just worn down from everybody playing D, 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 D. And your frets were worn all over the place. And it just, I'm like, wow. I like
to abuse the entire neck.
Abuse the entire neck. And it's a testament to how much you play all over the guitar.
I try to.
Yeah.
I definitely, I very much respect the guitar. I very much never feel like I've arrived. I never feel like, I mean, obviously there's things I can accomplish that I'm like, oh, like even this solo, it's like it's 80% there. And that's still like, yay. Yeah. But I very much, I don't look at the guitar as it supports me as a songwriter. I look at the guitar as like, this is another way for me to express my creativity. And it's, I don't know, like I really, really love the guitar. And in fact, I just started taking guitar lessons again. And just learning so much. I feel like I could live 10 lifetimes and never learn enough about music in general. But I don't know, the guitar is just, for me, it's just a very special instrument.
Mm-hmm. I always think about that scene. You ever watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
No.
You never watched Buffy the Vampire? Alright. Well, there's a scene in that where Oz, somebody says to him, is it hard to play guitar? And he goes, not the way I play it.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really not a hard instrument if you just want to do some very simple things. And, yeah. I am a complete supporter of that too, because I taught music for a long time, and there were some people that came and was like, just want to play some GCD chords around the campfire and, sing some songs, and that's awesome, and there's other people that, they want to tear apart a theory and, explain all this to me, and they're very technical and very dedicated to that craft, and, music is freeing, it's healing, and, I think whatever you get out of it is just as important as what another person gets out of it.
That's awesome. So,
all right.
Let's have a little bit of that fancy guitar playing.
Okay.
Turn a little bit so we can get the camera on there. All these fingerings.
I have to tell you, Nancy Wilson, wow. When I joined Dog and Butterfly, like really studying her guitar work and also the songwriting, it was really exciting and humbling, and definitely, like I said, I cut my teeth on that band. I learned how to be such a better player, and it was definitely a huge challenge. So I haven't totally mastered this yet, but here's where I'm at.
And she told me she hadn't played it in a while either, so I'm putting her on the spot here.
Yeah. Stop it right there.
That's fantastic. Great playing.
Well, it's okay. Like listening to the real deal, it's like you kind of pick apart everything, and it's like but I survived it.
Oh, now that I have it up close, I can rewind the video and I can learn it myself.
Okay.
Was it? No, I didn't get it. That wasn't me.
This was definitely one of those songs where it was like when they asked me to learn the solo, I mean, I had to take it from and to a metronome and just like trying to get you like getting all those the articulation there, and it's a hefty workout. I mean, at least for me. I mean, maybe there's other players that'd be like, psh, kids play.
Not me. No, that's beautiful. So and the dedication to practice it to a metronome.
Yeah. Well, time is important. It's I mean.
You have to tell me.
When I first started playing out, I had terrible time. I mean, and it was really kind of frustrating when I figured that out, because I had been trained. I've been, taking piano lessons since I was 10. I went to music school, and it wasn't until I got out and started playing that, I started sensing that people were trying to let me know, like, something's not quite right, but they didn't know how to tell me without insulting me, I guess. Yeah. And I finally worked with a drummer who was from Berklee School of Music, and from the East Coast, just totally no filter, no concern for my feelings. And we jammed one day. He's like, "You need a metronome," and it was the best conversation I ever had. And when I started teaching, I made sure my students had a metronome. I said, "You will practice the metronome because you don't want to be getting into the real world and having an experience like that. And you should. That's part of your musicianship." So. I love playing the metronome because it actually helped me learn how to play with time better, because you have that stable click. Mm-hmm. And I remember that when I first, got my metronome, and I practiced to it for a little bit, and then I just let it keep going, and I cleaned the house just to sort of get that internal clock going. Yeah. Now,
do you always just use a click, or do you ever use a drum machine for practicing it or anything?
Generally, just a click.
Another guitar-related question I wanted to ask you is, you're one of the few people I know that has both an Epiphone Les Paul and a Gibson Les Paul, and I've only had Gibson Les Pauls because I'm a snob. Uh-huh. Yep, and I've never really played an Epiphone, but you use them for different reasons, and can you feel the difference between them, and what's the difference that you've noticed?
Well, I mean. Honestly, I got the Epiphone because I did not have a Gibson Les Paul, but I also did not have the money to buy one yet, and it was the closest thing I was going to get to that sound and that feel. So I know it is not. It's obviously it's not as a finely crafted piece of machinery of guitar, but even with that said, I still love the tone, but the craftsmanship is just not. Gibson.
You could feel it.
You can definitely feel the difference. But I did end up getting a Gibson Les Paul, but I still keep my Epiphone because I do a lot of things in different tunings, and I really don't want to go in and out of tunings while you're performing, so just kind of making that quicker. And actually, there are some songs that I feel like the Epiphone sounds a lot better than the Gibson. It's just meant to do that song.
Now, what different tunings do you use?
I had used open D. I use drop D, and drop G.
Drop G? Mm-hmm. Or you just take the A and go right down to G? Okay, yeah, I do that too.
And double drop D.
Double D, yeah.
And then Dad-Gad.
Dad-Gad.
Yeah.
Dad-Gad's great.
Yeah.
You just all of a sudden feel like a British folkie, don't you?
You know what? The first time that I wrote something in Dad-Gad, I was trying to learn Kashmir, and I mean, this was like 2003, so I was still, I've been playing a while, but I'm definitely a far better player than I am now, and I don't know what it is about the tuning, but just stuff started pouring out of me, and I was playing in a way that I'd never played before. I was playing like I could really play.
Wow.
And that was under Zenith that I ended up writing, which was on Bigger and Brighter. I don't know if you heard, it's an instrumental, but
I didn't know that one.
That tuning was so inspiring. I was like, how are my fingers doing this? Like, I didn't know I had this inside of me.
Well, that's great. I have a guitar here that's an open E.
Okay.
Or open D. You tuned it for me earlier.
Yeah, I did open D on that one. Yeah.
And, can you play something in open tuning?
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Open D.
So this is my ripoff of Dear Prudence, not intentionally, but this song is called Rush In, and I wrote it for Tales of the Aftermath. Minute before, words won't come, but some, there's more. It's been so long since you've been here, since you've been here, slowly sterilizing my soul. Won't we give in just to meet it again, just to meet it, oh, just to meet it again.
Wow. Okay. I've never sat right here from somebody playing my dobro. That is a loud.
Yeah.
That's a loud guitar, which was designed for. But
Yeah.
beautiful progression. It's that last flat.
Yeah.
That's the one that does it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Thank you so much. I really, that is actually a song that I did write on the electric guitar. Yeah, that was one that I'd actually written on the electric, and I was fooling around with some effects. And, it definitely just came together, and yeah, I love that song. That song is really special to me because it's about. I was again like I go through bouts of not being able to write, and it was sort of like me kind of mourning like the love of life and seeing all the color and everything, and just really having that spark, and so
Spark.
yeah, that spark of discovering something new, whether it be music or love or a new best friend or just anything. I was just kind of going through a period where I was just very uninspired, and this song just came out. And this song is called Rush In because it's let the color rush in. Like it's sort of like my conversation with the universe. Like I'm open. Even though I'm going through it, I'm open.
Marty Wilson Piper from the church has a song called Spark.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's about that spark of inspiration. I think that's what the song is about. So,
I have to hear that.
It's pretty fantastic. Yeah. We're back with part 2, Courtney Chambers. Yeah. Now, you've also done a bit of session work as of late, and I know that you played on Belinda Carlisle's latest album.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Like 6 years ago, I met a gentleman by the name of Gabe Lopez. I was playing for another artist, and he caught the footage of me playing with him, and I just went to play acoustic guitar as he sang the tracks. And so he got in touch with me, and he was like, I really like your playing. I'd like for you to play for me. And I said, great. And I loved his music. Gabe Lopez is a great pop songwriter. And at one of our shows, he was like, I just started talking to Belinda Carlisle. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome, And so they developed a relationship. And he ended up going to the UK on tour with her, supporting her tour. And they started writing together. And a couple of years ago, I got a text from him. He's like, we're getting ready to go in the studio. I'd really like you to play on this record. And I said, sure. And he gave me the budget, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. Go and just give me the stuff over. But whose record are we doing? He's like, we're doing Belinda Carlisle's. And I was like, yeah, I was that phase.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you just made this is like the highlight of my career.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I did the record that just came out, and I did one small show with her. I also played with Gabe where we opened for her, and I'm getting ready to do another show with her in February.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And what kind of style did you play on? Was it all acoustic guitar? Was it electric guitar? What was?
My part was all acoustic.
Okay.
They did have they had other players. It's very kind of an Eastern sounding record with a pop flavor to it. very a la, lots of Beatle-esque, and a lot of Beatles influence in there.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Belinda Carlisle, Wilder Shores. Go pick it up.
What's it called again?
Wilder Shores.
Wilder Shores.
Yeah.
And that just came out
in September.
September.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and fabulous human being. Like, it was such an honor to get to work with her, and the fact that she's a really cool person just made it that much better.
Now, she was there during the sessions and everything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's great.
And at one point, she had heard like a melody that she wanted me to play, and she sang it to me, and she's like, can you stick this melody in there? And I was like, sure. And I was just kind of trying to figure it out, and she's like, no, that's okay. It's I don't want to, trip you up. And I was like, no, it's fine. I'll figure it out, and I did. And she was just, she's very encouraging in the studio, and just, I don't know, just all around, just a nice person, just very warm, and because you never know what you're gonna get when you, especially when you go to work with some of your your heroes, your heroines, and it's like you kind of have this idea of, you really enjoy their music so much, and then you're like, what kind of a human being are they going to be? And it was the best experience I could have had.
I've heard Courtney Chambers is really difficult in the studio.
I am a diva.
Really? It's like, the air conditioning's on in here. Shut the air conditioning up. So, that's wonderful. And that's great that you have all of this on top of your solo career as well. Mm-hmm. So you have two things just climb at the same time.
Yeah, and I honestly I love doing more than just my solo thing, and it just keeps it fresh for me to work with other people. Mm-hmm. And just having the camaraderie, and also learning, just sitting in on these sessions, and it's like having the challenge of like, okay, here are the charts, here's the music, or figure this out, we want you to write this part, blah blah blah. And it just, I don't know, it just keeps my career interesting, because I think that you can get burned out if you kind of keep doing the same thing all the time. I know I do. I'm an evolver. Like I can't keep doing the same thing. I'm like, I got it. What's the next thing?
Yeah, you always got to evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and with that in mind, I've been listening to Tales of the Aftermath, and the last song on the album, Winter, is just beautiful to me. That's my favorite song on the album.
Thank you.
And so how did the writing of that song come about?
I was really going through some hard times financially, and it's like, it's an old song. I wrote it a long time ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wrote it probably 2010.
Okay.
And so I had to move home, and I was kind of situating everything at my dad's house, and he had a music room with these not beautiful, I'm sorry. The scenery was beautiful, but it was just a sliding glass door. And it was February, it was pouring down rain, and I just felt like I needed to write something. Just picked up the guitar, tuned it, stuck a capo on, and this music just started flowing out, and all of these feelings that I was having about having to come home, having basically, had been working so hard and working, and just sort of like feeling like, okay, it's time to slow down now, because you've been brought to a stop for whatever reason. That's how having to come home felt like. It was like the universe was like, just take a minute, and so the song it's called Winter, even though the word's not in there. But it's about that. It's about having to shut down. It's about having to let things go, and it's sort of like that hibernation period before you can come back for the spring, and where everything starts growing again. And I'm grateful for that period of my life, and I put it at the end of Tales for a reason, because Tales is kind of a melancholy record anyway, and it's a lot about a lot of my struggles through the past several years. But I wanted the last song to be like, but there's hope after this, to be ready for the spring. That's the final line in the entire record. Like, okay, so I've been through these things, and these things have shaped me, they've cut me, and it's made me grow a lot, and I'm ready for my next place in my life.
All right. Mind if I join you?
I would love that.
Okay.
Actually, let me get rid of that. Doors are closing and I'm shutting in. I've been waiting for you to begin, and I'll be patient while you take your time. Seems I've been running and lost track of the light, and time makes a bad woman. And I'm waiting for my turn. So fine, if you've got the matches, got some bridges we can burn. Need to spend some time in the space in between. Shut my mouth and hear the message waiting. Need to break me down. Need to break me down. Need to break me down. Need to break me, and time makes a bad woman. And I'm waiting for my turn. So fine, if you've got the matches, got some bridges we can burn. Need to break me down. Need to break me down. Need to break me down. Need to break me, and time makes a bad woman. And I'm waiting for my turn. So fine, if you got the matches, got some bridges we can burn. To be stronger than, to be new again, to be better than, to be ready for this world. That was really pretty, man. Thank you.
That was a lot of fun, Courtney.
That sounded really pretty. That was a nice little line you came up with there at the last minute.
Thank you. I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe I'll do that thing. So,
It's really pretty. Thank you.
it's the Nashville High Strung. Since we're in Guitar Geek Warning, $75 Hondo guitar, little tiny white strings.
It's awesome. I love the sound of it.
So-
I actually want to get a cheap guitar and do that to it.
It's pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
My favorite part is the loose battery inside.
Yes. I love how like every guitar you have has something so special and so different and unique about it. And I love how you sort of Frankenstein some of your guitars.
Oh, he's got a lot of guitars. None of them are worth shit because he's messed with all of them. But yeah.
But it's cool. It's you know, it's every time I come to your house, I'm always really inspired. Just talking to you guys about music and how passionate you are, and especially looking at your guitar collection, obviously.
So, yeah, we don't need to pan over there. It's fine. They just stay. They just stay there. So, thank you. Same here. I always love hanging out with you.
Thank you.
And so, thanks for being on my show.
Thanks for having me.
Singing and Strummin on Guitar Geek Warning. And I think that's about it. What's your website?
Oh, CourtneyChambers.net, and Facebook is Courtney Chambers Music, as well as Instagram is Courtney Chambers Music, and Twitter is C Chambers Music.
Aha.
Yeah.
We'll put all those on the bottom of the screen.
Please do.
Yes.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time on Singin' and Strummin'.
Thanks, man. That was awesome.
That was great.
Oh, I love you guys. Thank you